What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I wanted to give you guys a quick market update as Bitcoin has gotten a little bit of a pop to the upside. Now, if you guys saw my premiere last night at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will know that we were looking at some very, very specific signs. I was showing a long position that I'd taken in the premium Discord with the CandleMafia, where we were looking to hold that trade from below our local volume profile, targeting the POC above, which was our next target to the upside. And we have literally come up and tapped that level almost to the dollar. Now, this level of resistance is absolutely key to get above if we want Bitcoin to continue up, because if we're unable to get above this level, guys, it could be an area where we might see a lower high created before a much bigger drop to the downside. So Bitcoin is kind of in a make or break scenario right now. So I wanted to give you guys this quick market update, give you guys all the key levels and what I'm expecting here coming up in the next few days for Bitcoin. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and obviously Bitcoin has been somewhat boring here, kind of just wiggling sideways over the past couple of weeks. And if you guys watched yesterday's content, you will know we have been looking at this area of consolidation in terms of a volume profile. I'm going to pull that zone up right now, and you guys can see we've been kind of viewing price in terms of this sideways range or volume profile. And yes, I am still holding my long position down here, but basically what we were looking at for this position, guys, we were simply looking at a deviation below this value area low, where we know price is potentially undervalued, and this is where we like to look for long positions. Everybody starts to get scared. Everyone thinks the bear market's here, but we simply know, compared to the relative price action recently inside of this value area, when we deviate below that value area low, this is simply where we like to look for long positions. We were able to find some bullish confirmations down here in the premium Discord, where we were looking for a bullish retest of the golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement to take that position in anticipation of potentially coming up to the value area low, and then flipping that level to support to see price run into our POC of the range, which is at $97,253, which is literally where we are sitting right now. We've come up and tapped that POC almost perfectly to the dollar. This is now up $2,300, and as we've come up to our next target that we were looking at yesterday, which was that $97,253 POC, my stop loss is at break even, but I am going to lock in some profits and potentially move my stop loss into profit as well, further protecting me and locking in those gains for a guaranteed winning trade. Not too shabby for just sitting around and waiting for price to move for a couple of days, but now that we have come up and tested this POC, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hide this long position, and I want to talk about why this is such an important level of resistance and why we really want to get above this if we do not want to see more downside for Bitcoin. Now, if you watched yesterday's content, you will know that not only do we have the POC of the range here, but we also had the anchored VWAP pulled from the all-time high here at $108,500, give or take a few bucks there. But we have come up, tested that anchored VWAP, hit that POC of the range, and on top of that, we also had a weekly naked point of control coming in here as well, giving us a pretty nice range of resistance to be not only looking at this as a target, but a very key level that we must get above if we want more upside for Bitcoin. And the reason for that is, guys, if we pull our golden pocket 786 retracement from this recent high at about 99.9K all the way to our current low, you can see our golden pocket N786 Fibonacci retracement zone is surrounding that POC anchored VWAP weekly naked point of control. Now, we did touch on the weekly bearish divergence on yesterday's update, talking about how this might be able to cause more downside for Bitcoin, where we looked at some of those lower targets getting closer to about 90,500 and even a little bit lower than that. And we also looked at some doomsday targets, but I'm not going to cover those in today's video. But you guys know that if we are going to continue this downtrend, we are likely to see a lower high come in between that golden pocket and that 786. And with this plethora of resistance in the middle of that zone, guys, this is an absolutely critical level to get above if we want to see more upside for Bitcoin, because if we are just going to continue that downtrend, this could be a zone where we put that lower high in at before coming back down and breaking structure to the downside once again, potentially coming down to that $90,500 zone, or even potentially a bit lower. So pretty nice that we were able to capitalize, make a couple $1,000s on this little push to the upside. But like I said, I will be taking profit here because we have hit a major target. So right now, I do just want to point out, I know it's a little bit of a big zone, but pretty much if we get above that POC, we really want to see price flip that POC to support, get above that anchored VWAP, flip that to support as well, and then that gives us an opportunity to go test that 786 Fibonacci retracement. And at that point, guys, we need to get above that level, because once we get above that 786, it will pretty much invalidate the idea of putting in a lower high in this zone. Because remember, when we're looking for those lower highs, they oftentimes come in between the golden pocket 786, and once we get flipped that 786, that's where we oftentimes will see the invalidation of that lower high coming in, and that is where we can potentially see price continue to the upside. And I'm going to show some of those upper targets in just a second, but I wanted to drop this update for you guys because we are 100% coming into that next major zone of resistance. And again, not only a key target we were looking at, but using the volume profiles, using the Fibonacci retracements, we understand what we need price to do in order to see this long position continue to pay us out. Now, yesterday, the key level to get above was 94,960 to see the bigger move up to about 97,253. We simply got that to play out absolutely perfectly. And now our next step is to get through all this resistance and push up into this value area high where we could once again reassess the situation. And if we were not to get bearish confirmations there, I would be looking for higher targets on Bitcoin. And to show some of those, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hide the local range, I'll hide the anchored VWAP and the Fibonacci retracement. And just remember here, guys, these weekly naked points of controls are absolutely key levels of resistance and oftentimes give us big reactions. So again, you know, there is a plethora of resistance here that we really need to get above in order to see that continuation up. But if we are able to see that, guys, very simply put, I will be turning on our major range here, and this is essentially the same exact levels we were looking at in the local range, but just a little bit higher time frame. So again, if we push up above that POC, we want to get above that 786. We understand that we do have that local value area high sitting here, but if we could just push through that, once we flip that 786 and break out of that local range, I will be looking for price to come up into our next major zone of resistance, which is going to be sitting here between 99,329 and 100,800. And in this zone, we have a golden pocket value area high, and we also have a daily horizontal resistance level sitting right here at about $99,344. So very simply put, guys, we took that long position below the local value area low. We wrote it into our first take profit level, which was a beautiful target to have. You can see we got sucked into it perfectly. And we are going to potentially be looking for some short positions up here in the premium Discord, as well as this could be where we put that lower high in at. But if we could continue up here, get above that 786, this is another large zone that we can look for price to come into between 99,329 and 100,800. In which case, I will be reassessing the situation and trying to see if there are any good short setups sitting there. Now, for what it's worth, if I'm looking at raw price action here, guys, if we get above this next 786 Fibonacci retracement, we know that lower high is invalidated here. However, if we push up into this next zone, we do have another golden pocket and 786 Fibonacci retracement. That 786 is coming in at about $102,300. This could be another 786 golden pocket where if we are going to continue a bigger downtrend, if we don't get it right here, this is going to be the next zone I'm looking at to potentially continue this downtrend, maybe breaking us down to that doomsday level that we were looking at about $82,000. Now, I'm not calling for $82,000. It's an if this then that statement. We are traders here. We will only take that short position if we get the confirmations on the chart. And of course, we do have some support below before we get to that $82,000 zone. So it's a little too soon to call for that $82,000 level, but trying to front run price action here, if we were to see a major lower high come in, these are the two zones to put it in at. The one that we're in right now, and if we get above this, that next zone that I just went over above us in terms of the bigger range is going to be that next big area where we could put that lower high in at before continuing down. So the biggest level on the chart right now, in my own personal opinion, is going to be the bigger 786 Fibonacci retracement coming in at $102,386. Once we get above that, this is where I would say the overall idea of a lower high coming in is starting to get truly invalidated. Now, sure, we do have some other resistance up here. To be quite honest, we have a lot of work to do to kind of get through this and see new all-time highs. But these are the major zones that I'm going to be very careful at and potentially looking for short positions at to maybe capitalize on that move to the downside. But once we get above this 786, that's really the best chance I think we have to get a much bigger move up on Bitcoin. But of course, we do have that next level of resistance, but we'll approach that when we get there. For now, guys, I want you to focus on these local levels. Let's see if we can get above this POC into the local value area high. If we could get that, simply going to be looking at that larger range, pushing up into our next key level of resistance, and we will reassess the situation when we get there to find our next profitable trade. Now, before I let you guys go, I do want to take a quick look at Market Cipher B because as you guys know, one of the other things we were looking at yesterday to potentially anticipate this move to the upside continuing was very simply the 1 hour money flow crossover into the green. As we were getting this money flow crossover into the green at the same time as this 16-hour green dot being confirmed, we knew that if we were going to see that money flow crossover continue remaining in the green here, we were going to anticipate the trend to continue to the upside, making it very likely to hit our next target here at 97,235, and that has now played out absolutely perfectly. So I'm going to go lock in some profits on this long position and then move my stop loss into profit and see if we could ride this thing a little bit higher. And while we're doing that, we are going to be hunting for short positions in the premium Discord on this next key level of resistance that we're tapping right now. But those are the key levels of resistance I'm looking at right now, guys. We do have a lot of roadblocks above us, but we're going to play it level to level, capitalizing not only on these little pushes to the upside, but making money whether price goes up or down. So guys, that's all the time I got for today's market update. Hopefully this helps you guys out. All these levels pretty much remain the same as yesterday. We are just seeing what we wanted on price, getting sucked up to that POC. So we'll see if this volume profile can fill in full. And hopefully, if we're not going to get that full rotation, we'll be able to catch this rejection from the POC / weekly naked point of control. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's video. I'll see you guys on the live stream at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out.
Go at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up. Yeah, you know, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.